Add in opportunities for undergraduate research, experiential learning, and nationally recognized pre-professional programs in business, communication, healthcare, education, and entrepreneurship. You get the full Trinity experience. The liberal arts plus. And while this experience may end with a Trinity degree, it's just the beginning of a lifetime of inspired exploration and perpetual discovery.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's game between the DeSales University Bulldogs and your Trinity University Tigers. There are restrooms located in the Bell Center, which is the building behind the first base dugout. Trinity Dining Services concession stand is open behind Trinity dugout on the third base side. Now the starting lineup for DeSales. Leading off the center fielder, number 14, Colin Tremblay. 9-7 the shortstop, number 7, Ian Powell. 9-3 left-handed hitter, number 32, Trevor Wiener. 9-4 at first base, number 9, Will Stanley. 9-5 the left fielder, number 12, Dylan Drew. 9-6 in right field, number 27, Joe Grigas. 9-7 at third base, number 5, Gabe Diaz. 98 from behind the plate, number 21, Hunter Spalt. 99 at second base, number 15, Justin Escato. On the mound for DeSales, left-hander, number 37, Tom Burr. The assistant coaches are Jack Guerra, Jim Bergman, Brian Funk, and TJ Kazner. Head coach for the DeSales University is Tim Manning.
It is another beautiful day for baseball here in San Antonio, Texas. The national anthem just completed, and we are just about ready for a great matchup between the DeSales University Bulldogs and the Trinity University Tigers. I'm Brian Yanselson, and I'll be joining you by myself for this one. Luke Terry, who you have heard early in this season, was excited for this one and unfortunately had a freak accident on the field during BP, and we wish him all the best as he recovers from that tough hit. So I will be joining you for this one. And on the mound for the Tigers, as you can see right there, for the first time, very excited to get his first start, is Jack Martinez, who will face the DeSales Bulldogs, the lineup you saw on your screen ahead of the anthem. So we'll run through that as Martinez warms up. Leading off for the Bulldogs in center field, Colin Tremblay. At shortstop, batting second, Liam Kyle. The designated hitter, batting third, Trevor Leamer. Batting cleanup at first base, Billy Scanlon. Batting fifth in left field, Dylan Drew. Batting sixth in right field, Joe Gregus. Batting seventh and at third base, Gabe Diaz. The catcher, batting eighth, Hunter Spalt. And batting ninth at second base, Justin DeStasso. And you get a look at the home Trinity Tigers starting lineup. Leading off, Colt Harris at second base. Designated hitter Christian Holloway batting second. Ezra Gore in center field batting third. MJ Metz batting cleanup and at third base. And we'll get a look at those faces, and we'll get another look at that lineup as the Tigers come to bat. But right here, we are just about ready for first pitch. 64 degrees, not a cloud in sight. And Martinez's first pitch to Tremblay is a breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike. Second pitch from Martinez is blown past by Tremblay, so an 0-2 count early on for the first year. Trying to get Tremblay to chase there on the outside, but not doing. So the count 1-2, and we'll address it right from the start. You might be wondering, you see the last name, and in South Texas, used to hearing Martinez as the pronunciation. I know we had some comments after Jack came in for the first time, but it is Martinez. And as the 1-2 here from Martinez is grounded to third, Metz ranges over and gets it on to first for out number one. But Martinez explaining to me that his dad's side of the family, all hailing from the great state of Louisiana. And so the French Cajun pronunciation of the last name is in fact Martinez. And apart from the importance of getting people's names right, I think this is a name you're going to have to get used to as a Tiger fan. Just his first year and already making a start here early in the season. After 2 appearances coming out of the bullpen, both in pressure-packed situations, and he impressed the coaches here at Trinity enough to earn this start in non-conference play. Martinez so far throwing 6 1/3 innings coming out of the bullpen. One of those outings, an extended one, 5 innings against Wisconsin Whitewater, giving up just 1 run against that prolific Warhawk offense. And right away here, gets ahead of the number 2 hole, Kyle. Trying to loop that breaking ball in there, but it misses just up and in. The Bulldogs been pretty busy this week. Their spring break road trip concluding here tonight in San Antonio as Kyle swings past that breaking ball. Strike 3. Great start for Martinez, retiring the first 2 Bulldogs here. Bulldogs coming in from Center Valley, Pennsylvania, and taking advantage of the warm weather that they expected. Hasn't been as warm as they might have hoped, but it's been relatively good weather this week in South Texas. And they've taken advantage by going to Shriner on Sunday up in Kerrville, then going to Southwestern on Monday, Texas Lutheran yesterday, in Seguin, and now they find themselves here in San Antonio to face the Tigers. That fastball misses into Lemur, who had himself quite the afternoon yesterday in Seguin. He went 3 for 5 and drove in 3 runs against the Bulldogs as the Battle of the Bulldogs up there. Lemur, one of several seniors in the starting lineup today for DeSales. And the senior looks at that one up and away, earning a 5-pitch walk. So Martinez had gotten ahead of the first 2 and retired them with ease, but now Lemur reaches first with 2 outs. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Billy Scanlon. First pitch to Scanlon. Dots the corner there for a strike. He takes a look back at the home plate umpire, asking where exactly that was. So Martinez gets ahead 0-1. Scanlon, also a senior in this starting lineup. Looks at a ball high. He was one of the leading producers for the Bulldogs last year, hitting .329. Drove in 19 runs. And yesterday went 1 for 2 against Texas Lutheran. That pitch misses away, 2-1. The count to Scanlon. This is game number 5 in just 4 days for DeSales. They have traveled all around the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, all those teams mentioned at the top, in the Tigers Conference. So Trinity will be seeing pretty soon, all those teams. Southwestern, the first of those coming up next weekend. But this provides a good measuring stick for the Tigers to face a team that has gone up against all those conference opponents that will be on the deck pretty soon. And of course, the teams that matter the most when it comes to reaching the postseason. Right here, Scanlon grounds it to second, flips it on to shortstop, and the side is retired. So the first start for Martinez starts off pretty cleanly, just the 1 walk, but he is retired there on the ground ball. So we are headed to the bottom of the first in San Antonio. Tigers come into bat. And just a short break here so that we can get the entire Tigers lineup in for you. Once again, leading off at second base, Colt Harris. Batting second, the designated hitter, Christian Holloway. In center field, batting third, Ezra Gore. Batting cleanup at third base, MJ Metz. At catcher, batting fifth, the first-year Nicholas Lazara. In right field, batting sixth, Brian Schaub. In left field, batting seventh, Jack Vonderhaar. At shortstop and batting eighth, Tanner Haney. And with his first appearance of the season, batting ninth and at first base, Corson Hastings. On the mound for the DeSales Bulldogs, Tom Berg III, junior out of Cliffside Park, New Jersey, has made 1 appearance this year. He went 3 innings against Bridgewater College. Gave up 6 runs, but only 4 of those were earned, so you see the inflated ERA with just the 3 innings. but the Bulldogs needing anybody possible to come on the mound. As we mentioned, this is their 5th game in just 4 days, so running out of arms, and they turn to Berg here, whose first pitch misses, thought it missed, but in there for a strike, so Colt Harris falls behind 0-1. Breaking ball nearly gets Harris to chase, but he's able to lay off to even up the count at 1-1. Colt Harris leading off after having a spectacular showing at Wolf Stadium in the Tigers' last game. Harris grounds that one foul over to third. Harris taking advantage of the opportunity to play in a minor league ballpark and not bothered at all by the grand stage. He hit a grand slam against Wisconsin Whitewater. Tigers fell just short, losing that one 9-7, but Colt blasting that one over to left field and giving the Tigers a real boost in that one in the middle of the game, just couldn't hang on. And Harris down here 1-2, tries to wait back on that breaking ball and just gets a piece of it. So it'll remain 1-2. The Tigers splitting that 4-game series against the Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks. What a great series of baseball that was. Entertaining from start to finish, Game 1 through Game 4. The 3 that happened here on Trinity's campus and Game 4 happening at Wolf Stadium. Tigers winning both their games in walk-off home run fashion. Harris takes the count full here, 3-2, so a nice start by the leadoff hitter, seeing good amount of pitches and making Berg work. No doubt the Tigers want to get into this tired bullpen. 3-2 to Harris is fouled, and it'll be out of play past the Tiger bullpen. Tigers not only splitting that series, but they've split their 10 games that they've been a part of this year so far, coming into today at 5-5. 3-2 fouled back once again, so Harris continues to make Berg work here. Three-two to Harris, aligned over to the other way, and he is gonna get into second base with a double, gonna hustle it off of that line drive. And the ball gets away. Colt gonna take advantage and head on over to third. So the lengthy at-bat pays off for the leadoff hitter, and he lets his bench know about it. A great start here for the Tigers in the bottom of the first. A 9-pitch at-bat by Colt Harris results in a double and then ends up at third off the errant throw. And now a perfect opportunity for a quick RBI. But swinging through that one is Christian Holloway. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Holloway goes down on 3 pitches. Missed that first pitch as we showed you Colt's replay. But Berg doing a nice job bouncing back off of that leadoff hit. And he'll now have to get through Ezra Gore, the 3-hole hitter. Off-speed pitch to Gore, misses low. Gore already in 10 games, has 10 runs batted in. That .293 average coming primarily from the middle of the lineup, has led off. But the lineups never quite staying the same for these Tigers. We've seen all sorts of variations, and we expect to keep seeing the same as head coach Tim Scannell tries to find the formula that works as Berg gets a breaking ball in there, froze Gore. And he's ahead 1-2, looking for another strikeout with that runner over at third. Gore connects with that one, but it'll dribble foul. Would have been a tough play to get Gore at first. And the breaking ball gets Gore. So back-to-back strikeouts from Berg leave him in a position to get out of this jam. We saw Harris, the leadoff hitter, struggle to wait back on a couple, but he was able to fight him off. That time Gore just a little bit early on that breaking ball. So MJ Metz will have to deliver the 2-out RBI. And he's had no problem doing so to this point in the season, hitting over 400, has those 7 runs batted in. And you see Berg really confident in that breaking ball, tries to get it in to get ahead of Metz, but the umpire says it was just away. Pitch number 20 here coming from Berg. And it'll be an off-speed pitch that misses high. We'll see what Berg goes with here. In a hitter's count, 2-0 to Metz. No doubt might be looking for the fastball, but we've seen Berg go to that breaking ball, but he does go with the fastball. It is grounded to short, and the play is made over there at first base, so the Tigers strand a runner at third as Kyle able to get that hard ground ball over the diamond to Scanlon. And what looked like a promising start with the Colt Harris double moving over to third on the air results in no runs for the Tigers at runners stranded in scoring position. We are through 1 in San Antonio. We'll take a quick break on Tiger Network and be back for the second.
Leading off for the Bulldogs, left fielder number 12, Dylan Drew.
Welcome back to Tiger Network. Both the Bulldogs and the Tigers stranding a runner in the first. So we are tied up at 0-0 as we head to the second. Dylan Drew up to bat for the Bulldogs, and he'll look at that one low for a ball. Got to talk to Jack Martinez last night ahead of this first career start, and he could not be more excited. Says it is a dream come true to get a start in collegiate baseball. And Drew right here skies it out to Ezra Gore out there in center field. Out number 1 comes quickly in the second. Talked to Martinez a little bit about the situations he's had to deal with this year, coming in, both his appearances coming in with the bases loaded. But he said it doesn't faze him one bit. He loves the pressure. In fact, his quote, "Pressure is a privilege." Loves to be out there in those tough situations, really thrives off of it. But now getting to come in with a clean slate, he determines everything as the starter. And he's off to a good start. That one misses by a bit outside, so Martinez falling behind Gregas here. Joe Gregas, the junior from Staten Island, New York. That pitch in a similar spot, this time called a strike. 2-1 the count to the junior. That one misses away, and it'll be ball 4. So a bit of a delay on that graphic, but Gregas earning the walk quickly. So walk number 2 for Martinez here. Still no hits by the Bulldogs, but they've had a couple of runners on. And it'll bring Gabe Diaz to the plate. First pitch to Diaz misses low. Lots of experience throughout this DeSales lineup, lots of upperclassmen, seniors, and juniors, but Diaz in there as the first year. As Martinez checks on the runner over there at first. Diaz going just 0 for 1 yesterday. Not playing a huge role in what was an offensive explosion as Diaz grounds it to short, 6-4. Not quite onto 3 in time. So just see out there at second. Haney over there at short, trying to flip it to Harris quickly enough for the double play, but Diaz just fast enough to reach first. But talking about that explosion for both sides really yesterday in Seguin, the Bulldogs of Texas Lutheran coming out on top 18-13. DeSales jumped out in front 6-0 in the first inning. But Texas Lutheran had a response with 7 of their own in the second. And they did not look back after that. They scored 16 unanswered, did the Texas Lutheran Bulldogs. And that was enough to stay ahead of DeSales for that 18-13 victory. When you get that wind blowing out, it caught Isbell Field in Seguin. You never know what will happen. And you can see it's been pretty windy this week in South Texas. And the Bulldogs experiencing that as they travel around. Currently at the plate and behind 0-2 is Hunter Spalt. Martinez trying to retire him with a fastball high, but Spalt able to fight it off. Spalt, someone that did take full advantage of that outburst, a big part of it, going 3 for 3 with 4 runs batted in. Spalt, another one of these seniors in the DeSales lineup that returns, having had a great year last year, hitting .339. The Bulldogs had a great year last year, going 23-9. As Spalt lays off of that one outside. Bulldogs going 23-9, losing in the semifinals of their conference tournament. Bulldogs hailing from the Middle Atlantic Conference, Freedom. The MAC Freedom. Spalt lays off of that breaking ball there. Runner trying to take second, and he will. Diaz saw that ball in the dirt. Lazera doing his best to keep it in front of him. But that little daylight taken advantage of by Diaz. We'll see the replay right here. Really doesn't go far, but Diaz took off right when he saw it in the dirt. And now a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Spalt evening up the count at 2-2 after falling behind. Martinez with his first little bit of trouble here. Tries to paint the fastball on the outside corner, but it misses. So a full count. See the shadows in full effect here as we approach 5:30. And Martinez taking advantage of that and freezing Spalt at the plate, striking him out on the off-speed pitch. So Martinez strands that runner in scoring position and keeps the score tied at 0. We'll head to the bottom of the second here in San Antonio. Tigers looking to get on the board. Welcome back to Tiger Network. Tom Berg remains on the mound after a clean first inning, stranding Colt Harris over there at third. And as we saw throughout that first frame, relying on the breaking ball that Lazera lays off of to start the at-bat, Nick Lazera, the first year getting the start here against DeSales, did not play in the Whitewater series. As he fouls that one towards the Tiger dugout. Lazera did play against Babson in the series before, recorded his first career hit and run batted in Game 2 of that series against the Beavers. Now he's back in there behind the plate. He waits on that breaking ball, but unable to keep it fair, just fouling it off towards the DeSales dugout this time. And he's behind 1-2. Berg this time trying to go with the fastball ahead in the count, but misses. Trying to go inside, as you saw the catcher Spalt setting up in. But Berg missing well away, but catcher going right back. And Berg unable to hit him once again, so now the count full at 3-2. Twice in a row now we've seen Berg trying to hit Spalt there on the inside part of the plate, but unable to get it there. And now Spalt setting up outside. Lazera doing a nice job laying off of 3 consecutive pitches and earning the trip to first base to lead off an inning. So for the second consecutive inning, the Tigers get the leadoff man on. And it'll bring up Brian Schaub to the plate. Schaub stepping in as the reigning stack hitter of the week. And how could it go to anyone else when you look at the week he had? As Berg freezes there in front of the mound, thought he hit his spot inside, but no, says the home plate umpire. Schaub going 6 for 14 against Whitewater with 3 home runs and 9 runs batted in. Berg trying to catch Lazera napping over there at first, but he gets back in time. The biggest blast of those 3, the walk-off grand slam in Game 3 against Whitewater, sent these Tiger fans into a frenzy the second consecutive night with a walk-off home run. And it wasn't just any walk-off grand slam, it was a walk-off grand slam with the Tigers down 3. Just about as perfect as you can draw it up. And Schaub, as he did so many times last year, coming through when needed most by Trinity. He's ahead 2-0 here. And Berg trying to keep him guessing, goes with the off-speed pitch to get back in the count 2-1. Breaking ball misses high to Schaub. So Berg in dangerous territory here behind 3-1 to the power hitter. And Schaub, after he had 2 home runs in game 1, got to talk to him and told me he was really focusing on keeping his barrel vertical, as Berg trying to keep Lazera close there. But Schaub specifically mentioning a video by the great Albert Pujols that shows his practice swings, just trying to stay vertical with his barrel because, according to Schaub, when he is struggling, he tends to dip his bat a little bit. So trying to keep it high in the zone and should keep it plain and result in the home runs, and whatever he was watching, it was working. So hope he keeps doing that. And of course, doing enough to scare opposing pitchers into walking him time after time. He does once more here. Lead-off walks for Lazera and Schaub bring up Jack Vonderhaar with nobody out here, runners on first and second. Already seen Berg escape one jam with that runner on third, nobody out, and he'll have to do something similar here. The lefty-on-lefty matchup, and the big breaking ball down in the dirt. Vonderhaar showing bunt. We'll see if that stays on. No shortage of runs yesterday between the Bulldogs. But Vonderhaar maybe just trying to catch the defense off guard right there, not showing bunt. The third baseman playing even with the bag. First baseman as well, but the middle infield. Double play depth here with nobody out. Vonderhaar ahead 2-0. Berg spins, fakes the throw, but Lazera not going anywhere. No one covering the bag. Wouldn't expect the catcher to be going anywhere here. But Berg concerned. Couple of throws over to first, and now checking in on him. The bunt will go foul. So Vonderhaar showing bunt twice. Didn't show it on the second pitch. Vonderhaar, someone else whose bat really starting to heat up, went 4 for 15 in those 4 games against Whitewater. Had a game-tying home run in the 9th inning in Game 1 that set up the Tyler Pettit walk-off. But right here, trying to give himself up, move the runners over, and the umpire saying that strike to Vonderhaar, didn't think so. Get a good look at the super senior here. Count even at 2-2, runners still on first and second. Vonderhaar swinging away and swinging past it. Berg comes back from down 2-0 to strike out Vonderhaar and keep those runners there at first and second. And it'll bring up the shortstop, Tanner Haney. First pitch to Haney is lined down the line in left, and that one's going to get down and bring home one. Haney will coast into second base with a double, and he delivers the first run of the afternoon. Not wasting any time in his at-bat, going after the first pitch. You see Berg trying to go in on the shortstop, but Haney had other plans, and he ripped it down the left field line, bringing home Lazera and putting a couple of more runners in scoring position here now for Corson Hastings. First pitch to Hastings, a breaking ball that lands in there for a strike. Mentioned when announcing the lineup, the first appearance of the season for Corson. And he just loops that little breaking ball to the other side behind 0-2 quickly. Hastings, the sophomore from right here in San Antonio, Churchill High School graduate, former Charger, turned into a Tiger, trying to come through early in the second. The 0-2 to Hastings, another big breaking ball, this time Hastings laying off of it. The corners for DeSales once again in, but the middle infield back towards the grass, willing to give up the run for a hit, but they will not have to worry about that as Hastings goes down swinging. Berg gets another big strikeout. When anything put into play, likely would have scored a run. But up to bat, the top of the order, Colt Harris, trying to come through with 2 outs and 2 men in scoring position. That breaking ball just looping in there. You can see the looks on these Tigers. Probably expecting it at this point, but just so hard to wait back on it. Especially with the shadows, you can imagine probably goes from light to dark pretty quickly. Harris fouling that one the other way and will be out of play. This inning starting with 2 walks. First to Lazera, then Schaub. Vonderhaar trying to get them over on the bunt. Wasn't successful, but Tanner Haney picking him up with the RBI double. Now Harris trying to follow that up. Looks at that one up and away for a ball. The 1-2 to Harris. Breaking ball falling from the sky, and Berg thought he had him. But Harris remains at the plate. Get a good look at just how high that breaking ball goes. And Berg was on his way to the dugout, but he has to come back. And the 2-2 this time does get Harris swinging, going with the fastball inside. But the Tigers get their first run of the afternoon off the Tanner Haney double. They leave a couple in scoring position, but they'll rely on Jack Martinez to keep the score right where it's at when we come back on Tiger Network. Tigers taking the early lead in the bottom of the second. And Jack Martinez trying to get the elusive shutdown inning here in the top of the third. And he'll begin on the right foot with a called strike to Justin DeStazo. DeStazo, like Diaz, just ahead of him. Another first year in the lineup for the Bulldogs. The first year from Glen Rock, New Jersey. But he has gotten action right away on this spring break trip for DeSales, going 2 for 5 last night against Texas Lutheran. Drove in a couple of runs. Did strike out twice, but added a walk as well. DeStazo ahead 2-1 here on Martinez. And Martinez misses low, so falling behind 3-1. And that one misses high for a walk. So walk number 3 for the Bulldogs. Still not in the hit column, but they've had a walk in each of the 3 innings so far. But not only got to talk to Martinez yesterday ahead of his start, also had a conversation with Trinity head coach Tim Scannell, and he had nothing but good things to say about this starting pitcher, saying this is exactly what a baseball player should be like, charging forward and taking the fight to the hitter, not backing down from any challenge. We saw that in Martinez's debut, coming in for the first time in his collegiate career with the bases loaded in a 1 or 2 run game against Babson, but he didn't miss a beat, struck out his first hitter and went back to the dugout with energy here. The top of the order, Tremblay lining it to center field, and it gets all the way to the wall. A failed dive is going to result in an inside the park home run. Boy, did Tremblay get around those bases quickly. Almost catching up to DeSales ahead of him. We'll get a good look at the replay. Martinez's delivery lined right back up the middle, and Gore trying to come in and dive, make the play. Instead, it gets all the way to the wall. It had to be the right fielder, Shaw, backing him up, but by the time he got there, you see Tremblay nearly catching up to the runner ahead of him, just flying around the bases. And just like that, the Bulldogs ahead 2-1. So started the inning by saying, can Martinez get that elusive shutdown inning where they provide a run for the pitcher on the mound, and he comes right back out and shuts him down, doesn't allow a run to bring his offense right back to the plate, but no such thing here. Martinez giving up that inside the park home run. Now trying to bounce back, getting ahead of Liam Kyle, 0-2. The 0-2 lined back up the middle as well. This time, the second baseman Harris has some time to get there. So Kyle is retired for the first out of the inning. You always have to figure leadoff walks come back to bite, and they did here in the third. The leadoff walk to the number 9 hitter, DeSales, and then the top of the order coming through with the big hit. Now it's Lemur back up at the plate. Nobody on and 1 out. A tough break out there for Gore. If anybody watching at home has been to Trinity's baseball stadium, they know how difficult playing the line drives and the fly balls can be, both at night with the low lights, and right now, especially with those shadows. We mentioned it for the hitters, but you have to think out there in the outfield. You see part of the field covered in shadows, part of it in the sunlight, so you don't know quite what Gore saw off of that line drive right at him. And unfortunately for him and the Tigers, just letting it get past him all the way to the wall. Martinez, though, trying to bounce back. Already retired the first batter after that. Now falls behind to Lemur, 3-1. Lemur, the senior from Mertztown, Pennsylvania. You see him at 6'2" right there, left side of the plate. And he looks at a strike. Bottom half of the inside corner for a strike. Martinez, meanwhile, standing at 6'4". Tall right-handed frame. And he gets a breaking ball perfectly in there for a strike. Lemur probably not happy about the call before that, but that one was right there for strike number 3. It'll bring up cleanup hitter Billy Scanlon to the plate. And another breaking ball from Martinez, and another strike. Scanlon grounding out to second. Fielder's choice in his first plate appearance. And Martinez really trusting the breaking ball here. Gets ahead 0-2, struck out the previous hitter Lemur with it, and now gets ahead 0-2. We'll see what he goes with here. Trying to put Scanlon away. It is the breaking ball once more. But that one misses a little bit outside. Lacera trying to bring it back, but it'll be 1-2 here to the cleanup hitter. And the breaking ball this time grounded over to third, but right to MJ Metz, who gets it on to Hastings for the third out of the inning. But not before DeSales gets on the board and jumps ahead off of the inside the park home run from Colin Tremblay. It gets all the way to the wall off of the dive from Gore, and the Bulldogs jump ahead in a blink of an eye. So the Tigers have some work to do here in the bottom of the third. They'll come right back after this break on Tiger Network. After a tough second inning for Berg, he is back out there in the third suddenly with a lead, as the Bulldogs scoring 2 in the top half to jump ahead of these Tigers. And Christian Holloway leading off this inning, bringing the heart of the plate, trying to get it right back. Holloway striking out his first time up to bat, and he sends this one right back up the middle for a base hit. So a good start here to the third for Holloway and the Tigers. Just a clean line drive right back where it came from. We'll bring up Ezra Gore. Berg checking on the runner. You saw up close there his move, his pickoff move over to first, but not fooling Holloway that time. Runner stays there, and the delivery to Gore, grounded past the shortstop and into left field. So a couple of base knocks here for the Tigers. Have them rolling quickly here in the third, and it'll bring up the cleanup hitter, MJ Metz, with nobody out and 2 runners on. Tigers have had great opportunities now in each of these 3 innings. They plated one across last inning on the Tanner Haney double. Now Metz trying to make this a big inning with 4, 5, and 6 coming to bat with a couple of runners already on. Berg checking on the runner now. Faces Metz, and that breaking ball laid off for a ball. You have to wonder, that breaking ball may be fooling these Tigers the first time around, but now that they're getting a second look at it, expecting it, waiting for it, we'll have to see if it'll be as successful. Little off-speed pitch taken the other way. It gets past the second baseman's dive and into right field. Holloway scores, Gore gets over to third, and just like that, this ball game is tied. See, not the big breaking ball, more of a changeup that Metz just waits back on, takes it into right field, not trying to do too much, and it results in a run batted in. All three of the base hits here in the third inning. Really a nice piece of hitting by the Tigers. Holloway going up the middle, Gore grounding it into left, and Metz there going the other way. And now Nick Lazera comes to the plate. Runners at the corners, nobody out. Berg checking on Metz there. Berg again checking on Metz, but Metz getting in there safely, not even wasting a slide, going in there standing. This time he does go to Lazera, and Lazera lines it, and that'll get down and to the wall. Lazera goes into second, and he'll head to third. Metz scores behind, and Lazera nearly going for home. But the right fielder having all sorts of trouble with that one. Gregas lifting his hands up as if he couldn't see it back there. So Gore, of course, scoring easily from third. Metz joining him all the way from first. And the catcher, Lazera, ends up at third with the 2 RBI triple. We'll see if on this replay we see what Gregas was doing over there in right. The ball gets past him, and he put his hands up as if to signal that the ball was stuck down there. A visit to the mound here for Coach Nyman and the Bulldogs. Head coach Tim Nyman in his 33rd season as head coach for the DeSales Bulldogs. He has a record of 792 wins to 453 losses. His Bulldogs have won the conference 8 separate times. The MAC Freedom took a little bit to understand that the MAC Freedom is a different conference than the MAC Commonwealth. They used to be one, but they split. But the Bulldogs have won the MAC Freedom 8 times, none, though, since 2008. But the Bulldogs have won over 20 games, 21 years in a row, if you exclude that shortened season in 2020. So a quality program that Coach Scannell and the Tigers love facing and love beating. The Tigers winning 5 straight against DeSales. Berg off of that mound visit. Misses with the breaking ball to Schaub. And we'll talk in a little bit about how unique the last matchup between DeSales and Trinity was. Really one unlike any other you'll ever see. But right here, Schaub with runners at second and third. As it did look, while we were showing that replay and as the visit to the mound happened, the umpires clarifying that the ball did get stuck underneath the fence, and so they brought back Lazera to second and Metz to third. And so we are currently at a 3-2 score. Tigers ahead and opportunity for more, but it wasn't quite the RBI triple that we thought it was at first. The 2-1 to Schaub. Gets the outside corner there. Schaub not thrilled with the call. Count now even at 2-2. But already 4 base hits in the inning. Berg has yet to retire a Tiger in the bottom of the third. And Schaub looking to do some more damage. Lays off the breaking ball. gets past the catcher's spot. Berg rushing to the plate to cover, but nothing doing. Mets staying over there at third. As Berg walked to the plate, asking the home plate umpire if he could check over at second to see if the swing went around, but it'll be a full count here for Schaub. We'll see if Berg even attempts to mess with the power hitter or if he takes that open base and gets to Vonderhaar. Schaub drawing a walk in his first at-bat. He waits for the 3-2 here, going right at him with the fastball in, working around the runner. Tough throw, and it gets away from Scanlon. Diaz really with a difficult play. Tried to force the throw to get Schaub, but had no shot. One run will score off of the air. Lazera will stay at third, Schaub at first, but the merry-go-round keeps on turning for the Tigers. You see Diaz having to work around the 6'5 Mets over there at third. Tried to peek past him, get the throw to Scanlon. Tigers now with 3 runs plated in this inning, up 4-2. And still chance for more. Vonderhaar stepping to the plate, lays off that pitch high and away. Good look there. Scanlon just unable to pick it. Does a nice job to recover quickly, or else Lazera would have scored as well. Instead, runners at the corner, still nobody out. Vonderhaar ahead 1-0, and he lines this one to right center field. And this is going to get down, and that's going to get to the wall. Lazera scores, Schaub heading over to third, and Vonderhaar standing with the double. Tigers brought their bats here in the third, and they are crushing Berg. Great replay right here. Vonderhaar splitting the gap there. Gregus and Tremblay have nothing to do but get it in time to get it into the infield and prevent that runner from third from scoring. But hard hit ball after hard hit ball here has the Tigers ahead 5-2. First pitch to Haney inside for a ball. Haney got things going with his RBI double in the bottom of the second. That pitch a strike, as you now see the graphic reflecting the 5-2 score. Runners at second and third, still nobody out. Haney with a hard ground ball to his counterpart over there at short. Will be retired at first, but another run does come in to score as Schaub crosses the plate. Makes the score 6-2 in favor of Trinity. Vonderhaar sticking at second off the ground ball, but still an RBI opportunity once again for Corson Hastings. Just like his first at-bat, things start off with a breaking ball for a strike. Hastings appearing in 4 games last season. And this is first of the 2022 campaign. This time is able to wait back on the breaking ball just enough to put it in play, but just a ground ball over to the second baseman, DeSales. The runner does move over to third, but there are now 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Colt Harris swinging at the first pitch, just nubbing it foul to the DeSales dugout. Another foul ball here gets Berg ahead of the count, 0-2. Harris is at bat to start the game. A sign of things to come. Hit the ball hard the other way, earning a double and then scurrying over to third on the air. He didn't come across to score in the first, but the Tigers' bats have kept hitting the ball hard as that one misses high. The Tigers now up to 8 hits to go along with those 6 runs. Bulldogs also committing 2 errors. And Harris waits back on the breaking ball. The dive from the third baseman sends the ball to the shortstop, Kyle, but it will not be in time to get Harris over there at first. Vonderhaar will come across to score, make that 7 for the Tigers. Couldn't quite see it on that replay, but Diaz extending, trying to get that on the dive. And the ball just ricocheting over to Kyle, but Kyle having no shot to retire the second baseman who drives in a run. And the second visit of the inning from head coach Tim Nyman will result in a pitching change. A tough afternoon for Tom Berg. He'll head to the dugout, replaced by J.J. Paul, but we'll take a quick break here on Tiger Network during this pitching change. Welcome back to Tiger Network, where J.J. Paul will try to stop the bleeding. 6 runs already across on 7 hits for the Tigers, and we are right back where we started with Christian Holloway, who led off this inning with a single up the middle. Now he is back at the plate for the second time. The Tiger bats exploding here. Not many of the hits have been cheap either. They're hitting it on the nose and taking advantage of every opportunity here. They had left a couple of men on base in the first and second, but not wasting them here in the third. Right there, Holloway trying to check his swing. Home plate umpire doesn't signal that he went around, didn't check with the field umpire either. So a 1-1 count to the designated hitter. Holloway with a big swing on that one, unable to connect. DeSales now in back-to-back days, giving up big innings yesterday after getting out in front to that 6-0 lead, giving up 7 runs to the Bulldogs in the second inning. And Texas Lutheran adding 9 more after that for those 16 unanswered. More than likely a tired DeSales squad who have no doubt had a fun spring break here in South Texas, but they are not having fun right now as Holloway lines it back up the middle. A tough play for the second baseman trying to recover, but he will not get Holloway, who is hustling down the line. DeSales there having some trouble getting the ground ball. It was hit pretty hard, and you see hitting right off the mound and providing a difficult hop for the second baseman, trying to recover, but Holloway running out of the box gets there in time. So the struggles continue for the Bulldogs here in the third. Ezra Gore will try to make him pay once more. Ball in the dirt, blocked by the catcher Spalt. In this inning, Gore singling into left field. Then came across to score. Gore patiently waiting for the delivery from Paul. Once again in the dirt, and it'll get past Spalt. Both runners able to advance, and once again, a couple of runners in scoring position for the Tigers as Harris and Holloway take advantage of that wild pitch. Gore ahead of the count, 2-0. And Gore crushes this one the other way, but it'll be out of play, foul. Paul on the mound, the senior from Quakertown, Pennsylvania. He's thrown a couple of innings so far this season, 2 1/3, and his ERA up to 7.71 early in this season. His last appearance coming back on February 26th against Methodist University. Gave up a couple of runs, only one of which were earned. But the Bulldogs just looking for anybody to get some outs here on the mound. Paul now with the 2-1 to Gore. In the dirt once more, the third time in this at-bat. And Gore ahead 3-1. Gore sends this one right back up the middle. The right fielder trying to range over, but will not get Gore at second. In the meantime, 2 more runs come across to score. And Gore and the Tigers keep pouring it on here in San Antonio. Tigers up 9-2. You knew both runs were going to come across to score. You thought Gregus maybe had a chance to get Gore at second, but that speed unmatched here. And it'll bring up Metz for another RBI opportunity. He drove in the first run of this inning back when the Tigers were down 2-1 in this inning, if you recall. DeSales had just come off their inside the park home run, took the lead to be up 2-1 here in the third. But 3 consecutive singles to lead off the inning from Holloway, Gore, and then Metz tied things up. And that was just the beginning of this onslaught. 8 runs come across to score, and still more out there with Gore at second. Metz lays off of that one. Paul with the tough task of having to come in, face the heart of this Tigers order, and some bats that already feeling pretty good about themselves with their performance here in the inning. Metz fouling that one the other way, and you had a feeling watching BP, one of the best rounds of BP these Tigers have hit, especially the ones they take pregame. Just line drive after line drive, and it has translated here into the game. Time called, and you can hear the Tigers dugout barking over there. barking back at the Bulldogs. Guess the Tiger is more of a growl. But whatever they're doing is working here in the third. The 1-2 to Metz, swung on and missed. Spalt will have to get the throw over to first. And the third out of the inning finally retired. But not before the Tigers add 8 runs in this inning. Already 11 hits on the board. And they have a 9-2 lead here in San Antonio. Jack Martinez with plenty of room to breathe when we come back right here on Tiger Network. Well, if Jack Martinez was worried about giving up the lead in the last half inning, he has certainly been taken care of after the Tigers score 8 runs on 9 hits and turn this game completely around. The Bulldogs getting a little bit of momentum with that inside the park home run, but all of that immediately squashed with the Tigers' response here. First pitch swinging is Dylan Drew. Hits it hard, but there is the second baseman Harris to retire him. So Martinez going right at the hitter, as one should do with this big lead. And he gets a first pitch out, as you see Harris doing a nice job there, ranging over and getting the out. Joe Gregus now at the plate. Earned a walk his first time at the plate. Pitch outside, called a strike there, bringing the count to 1-1. Gregus lines it, but right to the third baseman, MJ Metz. And just nothing working here for the Bulldogs. 2 hard hit balls, but right at Tiger defenders. And Martinez just 1 out away from that shutdown inning we talked about earlier. Another first pitch swinging. And Haney, nice play up the middle. And you hear the roar from the Tigers dugout. A great job there from the shortstop, getting what looked to be a base hit destined to go into center field, instead turning it into the third out of the inning. So Jack Martinez, he'll certainly take that. Just a few pitches to retire the Bulldogs in order. Tigers loving what they're seeing here, up 9-2 as we head to the bottom of the 4th in San Antonio. Welcome back to Tiger Network, where the sun is slowly setting in San Antonio, but the mood slowly improving for Tiger fans, as that last inning bringing lots of smiles to the faces of our viewers, no doubt about that, and Lazera wanting to keep it going, waste no time driving that pitch into center field for a base hit. Lazera in his last at-bat, rocketing a double to right field, and now that line drive to center. The first-year catcher impressing at the plate in more ways than one, both defensively and offensively. And it brings Brian Schaub right back to the plate. Pitch there from Paul, just misses outside. Big swing there from the right fielder. Takes the count to 1-2. You might have heard some of the groans on that last call. Good amount of DeSales fans in attendance. I got to talk to a few of them before first pitch here. Very kind to answer a few questions I had about their trip down to South Texas. They have made the trip to every game that the Bulldogs have played down here. They were telling me that the Bulldogs set up here in San Antonio at one hotel, and then they drove out to Kerrville to face Shriner, Georgetown to face Southwestern, and Seguin to face Texas Lutheran yesterday. And so they've made that trip back and forth from San Antonio. And they were pretty happy that Trinity was the last one, because they said they could almost walk to the ballpark from their hotel. They were a little disappointed by the weather they've had here in South Texas. It's been chilly here early in the week. It was beautiful over the weekend. And it was nice and sunny today, but the temperature is rapidly falling. That was the reason that this game got moved up from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m. That when a called strike three, Schaub thought he had another base on balls, had thrown the bat to the dugout. Instead, will have to walk with that bat to the dugout. But the temperature starting today at first pitch at 64. But the forecast does show temperature is going to fall into the 40s. Don't expect any rain or any of that sort of weather, but just doing everything they can to make this game comfortable for the people involved. So first pitch moved up from 7 to 5. DeSales will be heading back home to Pennsylvania, but they still have a couple of road games on the docket. They will face conference opponent Stevens in Hoboken. Vonderhaar grounds that one to the pitcher. Paul gets it to second, and they turn the double play. So a leadoff base hit for Lazera, but Paul does a nice job retiring the next two to get the double play and get out of the inning. After 4 here in San Antonio, Tigers remain on top, 9-2. Jack Martinez back on the mound, ready to face the bottom of the DeSales order. Catcher Hunter Spald. We'll start things off here in the top of the 5th. First pitch from Martinez. Swung on and missed. Martinez still giving up just the one hit. It was a big one at the time, giving DeSales the lead. But that is all the Bulldogs have, just that line drive that got past the dive of Ezra Gore in center for the inside the park home run. Other than that, Martinez has been sharp, completely on his game. Just the 3 walks to his name, but also adding 3 strikeouts, and has been in command most of the afternoon. We talked early on, Coach Scannell loving what he has seen from the first-year pitcher, and after a couple of times coming out of the bullpen, trusting him with the start in this non-conference midweek game. Coach Scannell loving players who bring the fight to the other team, don't back down, don't play on their heels, but instead charge with everything they have. And that's what he sees in Martinez. And it's translated in this start so far. The count currently full to Spalt. Breaking ball from Martinez. Popped up to the shortstop, Haney, who has no problem retiring that one for the first out. We've been incredibly fortunate to bring you quite the non-conference matchups here early in the season, as the Tigers really racking up the quality opponents, first going on the road and facing 2 top 10 teams and defeating both of them. First, the Birmingham Southern Panthers, and then the Washington University Bears. Both of those games in Birmingham. Tigers then came home, lost the series, lost 2 out of 3 to Babson, who was not ranked at the time, but were receiving votes in the top 25. And then that big 4-game series between Wisconsin Whitewater and Trinity, going just about as one expected, with each team taking 2. Right there, DeSales called safe at first. Haney had a little bit of trouble behind the bag there. Looked like his feet got stuck in the dirt a little bit. Couldn't get a lot on the throw. And DeSales will be safe at first. Get a good look right here. See the ball just behind him a little bit. And then a close play at the bag, but the first base umpire saying he beat it. That Whitewater series providing everything one could have hoped for. Dramatic finishes with those walk-off home runs, first from Tyler Pettit, then from Brian Schaub. You even had a game at a minor league ballpark, with the teams traveling to Wolf Stadium to play where the San Antonio Missions call home. And now the homestand continues here at Trinity and DeSales, and the homestand continues next weekend as well. First pitch to Tremblay, driven out to left field, but right there is Vonderhaar to retire Tremblay. A midweek game has been added next week. Tigers will be facing McMurray on Tuesday here in San Antonio. Originally had a series scheduled against the University of Chicago that got taken off the schedule after some shuffling with the academic calendars at both schools. But Trinity doing all they can to get more matchups on the docket. And after that McMurray series, it is finally time for conference play. Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. Trinity will begin that slate in the SCAC against the Southwestern Pirates. Kyle hooks this one foul the other way, but Lazara gives it a look. Not going to get there. Down 0-2 now. Tigers will get the opportunity to not only host several conference series, but host several of what should be the top teams in the conference. First with Southwestern, who's expected to compete. And then Texas Lutheran will close the conference season here in Trinity. As Kyle sends that one the other way, Vonderhaar going to his right, gets under it for out number 3. So Martinez keeps the lead intact right where it's at. Tigers ahead 9-2 as we are halfway home here in San Antonio. Tanner Haney at the plate, laying off the first delivery from Paul for a ball. Haney hitting the ball hard in both of his at-bats thus far. First with the RBI double to get the scoring going for the Tigers, then grounded the ball in the infield, but it was bobbled over there by the second baseman DeSales, allowing another run to score. So 2 runs batted in for Haney, and he hits it hard once more, this time foul. Haney, no doubt, will be happy about this performance at the plate. Came into today just 1 for 15 on the season with 5 strikeouts. And he is part of the revolving door there at shortstop as Haney once again hits it hard, this time the other way, and he'll get his second base hit of the afternoon. Haney getting the start at shortstop today. But he's one of 3 shortstops, really, that have gotten the opportunity there. Michael Montreza and Jack Baker, the other 2, that have rotated in and out. Something that Coach Scannell doesn't love to do. He loves to have a set lineup, but he just doesn't have it right now. He has all these pieces that are really capable that he wants to try out, knows that each one of them can deliver, so he's trying to figure out the right combination. And that's evident with Hastings getting the first start here today. Just trying to give all these guys a chance to show what they have. So Haney has definitely impressed here. Colt Harris now coming up to bat, another one of those names that is in and out of the lineup. Mostly starting at second base. We've seen him move around the infield as well in his time at Trinity. 2 for 3 today, and that grand slam over the weekend. Maybe opening some eyes up. Of course, what should open everyone's eyes is the fact that Colt Harris is a Baltimore Orioles fan, as I am as well. Don't find many Orioles fans here in San Antonio, so when I found out Colt was a fellow Orioles fan, got pretty excited to have someone to actually talk to about the Orioles. And while we don't have Major League Baseball, we do have D3 baseball right here on Tiger Network, which we are all so thankful for. And I really think the lockout is happening because the baseball world is a little bit scared of the Orioles. You know, they're getting ready to rise. Their prospects are just right there, ready to come up to the Major League level. And I'm sure Colt would agree that baseball is afraid of the birds. Here, Harris grounding it to short. He'll beat it out after the out is recorded at second. So a couple of outs now here in the bottom of the 5th. A shame we have no one to respond to my claims about the Orioles. because I'm sure everyone agrees that the Birds of Baltimore are ready to shine. One person who is shining already, Christian Holloway, 2 for 3 on the day, has come around to score twice. And if you ever come around to Trinity's ballpark on any given afternoon, you're likely to see Christian hitting. He is someone who is constantly working on his craft. And even when practices go from anywhere from 5 to 9 p.m., even when the team leaves, Christian oftentimes stays back to hit by himself. No one there to pick up the balls but himself. He is dedicated to being the best player he can be. And the bat heating up a little bit here today with the 2 hits. He had been hitting the ball hard, just not getting the results that he wanted. But that's certainly changing today. The 0-2 here to Holloway, fouled off. The runner, Harris, taking off with that pitch. Holloway, someone that last year came in a lot off the bench. Appeared in 10 games, ended up hitting .333. And now this year, more of a regular role. He's played in all but 1 game. So even with all that shifting that we've talked about throughout the season, Holloway a mainstay in the starting lineup, whether it's at that designated hitter role or somewhere out in the field. Coach Scannell knowing that he has to get that bat in the lineup. The 0-2 once more to Holloway. Awkward swing with the ball getting away from the catcher, but Spalt does a nice job to recover and get Holloway out at first. So some movement on the bases, but Paul able to get out of the inning. He was pumped up, went to congratulate his catcher Spalt on that one. And we are through 5 here in San Antonio. Tigers still ahead 9-2 as we head to the 6th on Tiger Network. We have reached the top of the 6th inning here in San Antonio, and the starter still on the mound, Jack Martinez, getting ready to face the middle of the order here, beginning with Trevor Leamer. Big breaking ball misses low for a ball. If you've tuned in to Tiger Network this season, you might know we like to have some fun with mascot names, and you might think Bulldog pretty common, but there is a pretty interesting story to why DeSales is the Bulldogs, but I'm not going to give it away just yet. Got to get some action in the YouTube chat, so if you have any guesses as to why DeSales' mascot is the Bulldog, you let us know, and we'll let you know soon if you are right. We'll give you the answer in a few innings. Leamer ahead here, 3-0. Lays off of that one. That's right there for a strike, so Martin is delivering the fastball right there to get back in the count. And one right in the similar spot is swung over by Leamer. So maybe a little bit anxious with that called strike on the previous pitch. Takes the count full to 3-2. This one gets away from Martinez a little bit, and it'll be base on balls number 4 for the first year.
Line at second, first baseman, number 9, Billy Scanlon.
Up to bat now from Westminster, Maryland, maybe a fellow Orioles fan, you never know, Billy Scanlon. DeSales University, located in Center Valley, Pennsylvania, just about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia. So maybe mostly Phillies fans, maybe a mix of Pirates fans in there. Hopefully no Yankee fans, of course. But the closest big city to the campus, likely Allentown. As Scanlon muscles that one to the left side. Metz gets into the shallow outfield and makes the catch. Nice athletic play over Haney. You'll see the replay right here. Metz using all 6'5" of that big frame. Lemur had to hurry back to first off of that out. And Dylan Drew now at the plate. Dylan Drew, first pitch swinging, fouls it the other way. And we went through the quality of the opponents that have come here to San Antonio to face the Tigers, and DeSales really right up there with them. Talked about how Coach Nyman and the Bulldogs have won over 20 games for 21 years in a row. They lost in the Mac Freedom semifinals last year to Stevens, and they were picked to finish second this year in the preseason poll behind Misericordia. So another quality opponent walking into San Antonio, facing these Tigers. Tough games that can only help as the season goes along. The Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference has strong teams throughout their sports, but as one looks at it, perhaps none stronger than baseball. When you look at this conference from top to bottom, easily 4 teams that you could say with a strong chance to qualify for the NCAA tournament when looking at Trinity, TLU, Southwestern, and Centenary of Louisiana. The 1-2 from Drew, grounded to Haney. He'll step on second himself. Gets it over to Hastings, who can't corral that throw. So the runner will be safe at first. Nearly an unassisted double play for the shortstop. But instead there'll be 2 outs here for Gregas coming to bat.
Next up for the Bulldogs, the left fielder, number 27, Joe Gregas.
Gregas also first pitch swinging. He fouls it back. So the Bulldogs aggressive here. Trying to get something going, trying to claw their way back into this game. We've certainly seen comebacks of this like before. You can never say never in D3 baseball, so Martinez has to keep throwing strikes, and he has to this point. Still just 2 hits on the board for DeSales. Martinez allowing the 4 walks, but striking out 3. And just those 2 runs that came on that inside the park home run. That last pitch from Martinez, pitch number 87. The longest Martinez has gone this year, those 5 innings out of the bullpen. And with this being his first start, have to wonder what the length will be of this start. And home plate umpire calling a balk here. And Martinez taking a couple of steps around the mound. The runner being awarded second base and giving Gregas an opportunity to bring a run home. The runner there at second, Patrick Custers, who came in to hit this inning. Another first year getting an opportunity here. And that ball off the foot of Martinez. Met's gonna try to make the barehanded play, but unable to get it. So Martinez right there, perhaps saving a run, because that one seemed to be destined for center field, because it was a hard hit ball from Gregas. You'll see right here. The Tiger infielders were not shaded up the middle. So the ball going off the leg of Martinez. Met's unable to get the throw, but the runners stay at the corners. And Martinez still with 2 outs in the inning. Another new name here for the Bulldogs that did not start, Travis Kerr. He also pinch hit yesterday against TLU, ended up going 1 for 2, scoring 2 runs and stealing a base as well. So he'll try to bring home 1 or 2 for the Bulldogs, but swings past that one for strike 1. Great off-speed pitch from Martinez, gets Kerr to chase. Really out in front of that one. So Martinez up 0-2. You see him laughing, taking a walk behind the mound. Big moment for him here, trying to perhaps finish his first career start on a high note. He takes a step off. And we'll wait to deliver this pitch. Going right after him with the fastball, you see Martinez with full effort. Hat ends up on the ground. But Kerr able to foul it off and stay alive here with 2 strikes. The graphic a little behind there on your screen. There are 2 outs and the count at 0-2. There you go, updated for you. The catcher, Lazera, looks to be setting up high. Martinez gets it there. But again, Kerr battling to stay alive with the count 0-2. This is an offense that scored 13 runs yesterday. They averaged 8.5 last year. Good for second in their conference and 38th in Division III. So this is definitely an offense that knows how to put up runs. And if they're going to get back in this one, this inning, big moment for both sides. Trinity trying to stay well ahead. Bulldogs trying to inch a little bit closer. The 1-2 from Martinez gets away from him, and it hits Kerr. Kerr doesn't look thrilled, but no doubt a mistake there from Martinez, not wanting to load the bases here with 2 outs. And as he does load the bases, a visit to the mound here from not only the catcher Lazera, but pitching coach Dave Smith. Dave Smith, in his 20th season as pitching coach here at Trinity, was a pitcher himself here for the Tigers. Had a record of 24-7 on the mound, so he knows a thing or two about big moments like these that Martinez has. So trying to calm down the first-year pitcher. Following the visit, Martinez taking his time to get back on the rubber, and he'll face a pinch hitter, Gavin Zavorsky, coming in to hit for the catcher Spalt. Zavorsky, the sophomore from Feasterville, Pennsylvania. Looks at that first pitch for a strike. Zavorsky, even as a first year last year, providing good punch, drove in 24 runs. So a big bat off the bench for the Bulldogs, trying to come through. Lazera, nice job blocking that one. The runners will stay where they're at. The 1-1 from Martinez. Hits the outside corner for a strike. Hat once again coming off the head of Martinez. You can tell the effort fully there. But as he said, and we talked about earlier, pressure is a privilege. And we'll see what he does here. The 1-2 outside and in the dirt. Again, Lazera doing a nice job blocking. Another quote from Martinez saying he has an "I'm going to beat you" mentality, not afraid of these big moments. And he goes right after Zavorsky. The hat once again coming off. We'll have to get a counter going in the future. But the count remains 2-2. You can see Martinez taking his time, getting his hat back on his head, looking around, and now back on the rubber. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and a 2-2 count. Zavorsky coming off the bench. And Martinez gets him swinging. The hat falls one more time for good measure, and Trinity escapes the jam thanks to the arm of Jack Martinez. So the Bulldogs strand the bases loaded, and the Tigers stay on top 9-2 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Tigers coming to bat. Coming off a big moment in this one with the Bulldogs stranding the bases loaded in the top half of the 6th. They had the pinch hitter Zavorsky come up with the bases loaded. The starter Martinez still out there, and Martinez was able to get the strikeout. And the Tigers remain on top here 9-2 with their heart of the order due up. As Rigor looking at that one for a strike. Paul's done a nice job in relief for the Bulldogs. DeSales desperately needed someone to come in from the bullpen and give them a few innings, and Paul has certainly done that. So far, 2 1/3 out of the bullpen. Has given up 4 hits and a run when he first came in, but really settled down since then, has 3 strikeouts. He came in relief of Tom Berg, the starter for today's game. And Berg went just 2 2/3 innings, gave up 9 hits and 8 runs, and most of that damage coming in the 3rd. We saw it so many times last year. The Tigers, in an instant, can put up double-digit runs. They are right on the cusp of that here with 9 runs already. Gore facing a 3-2 count, and Paul trying to get it in under the hands of the righty, but he fouls it off, and we'll do the 3-2 once more. Tigers have already scored over 10 runs 3 times this year. Paul again trying to go in on Gore, but Gore with the inside-out swing takes it to right field for yet another base hit. Base hit number 3 for Ezra Gore. First pitch to MJ Metz, a changeup that Metz is able to lay off for ball 1. These two teams, common opponents in non-conference play. So many of these teams from the north and the northeast love coming down to the south, as it's still very cold where they're coming from, so they want to get some games in warmer weather. And that's exactly what DeSales does so often. But the Tigers have been some real bullies of these Bulldogs, winning 5 matchups in a row. Last time DeSales won here in San Antonio was back in 2012. So 10 years since DeSales' last victory, but it is a game that happened 2 years ago, nearly exactly on this date, that stands out as a pretty historic one, if you ask anyone around here. All you have to do is utter the date March 11th, 2020, and most people will know what you're talking about. And for those at home who may not, that's the day we found out here at Trinity that school was shutting down, sports were being canceled, and we were all being sent home due to COVID-19. And the reason I bring this up now, on that March 11th date, the DeSales Bulldogs were out hitting BP. They were getting ready for a game against Trinity. And Coach Tim Scannell had to come tell Coach Nyman that the season had just been called. It was a pretty somber day for everyone involved. Nobody really knew what was happening, of course, in the world, but especially here. The decision came via email from President Danny Anderson. Coach Scannell saying he found out from Athletic Director Bob King. And his first instinct was to first go tell Coach Nyman, saying, this game, we're going to try to get it in, but can't promise you anything. And then, of course, having to deliver the extremely heartbreaking news to his team. And Coach Scannell telling me about that conversation yesterday, saying it was really tough reaction from everyone, especially the seniors at the time. They weren't sure if they were going to get another chance to ever play baseball again. And the immediate instinct, after finding out that they would get a chance to play that game, those seniors ended up sitting out. They weren't sure what it would do for their eligibility if they did play, so they just took the night off. And a lot of people who were on the roster who didn't get a lot of playing time played in that game. The Tigers winning, but the score, of course, the least of the concerns at that point, because that victory marking the very final game occurring on Trinity's campus for almost an entire year. It took until January of 2021 for any action to return here to San Antonio, because sports were shut down that spring, and then the fall sports were also canceled the following semester. But we've had a heck of a 2 years here to now finally be back with baseball, with fans in the stands, and with the world hopefully returning more to normal. But even those fans I mentioned at the beginning from DeSales, they remember that vividly. A couple of those parents were here. They said that they remember feeling terribly because the DeSales team didn't know anything about their season. Their season was still fully on. They were expecting to go home after the matchup with Trinity and face their conference schedule. But the players in the Trinity dugout were distraught. The parents were consoling them. And it was a really tough scene. So to see 2 years later where we're at, truly remarkable. I know it's been a pleasure for myself and everyone involved here at Tiger Network to bring you action from across campus and across all 18 sports finally happening in their respective seasons. And it's been quite the ride. First going through those fall sports with football, volleyball, soccer, and cross country having incredible seasons, all making the postseason. And then in the winter, the swimming and diving and men's and women's basketball teams following and keeping that streak alive, making the postseason. And one of those teams not done yet, the Trinity women's basketball team, still alive in the NCAA tournament. They have qualified for the Sweet 16, and they already left this morning for Amherst, Massachusetts, where they will face the #1 seed in the tournament, Christopher Newport. And I know everyone around campus thrilled to see Cameron Hill's Tigers doing so well. Can't wait to watch them this weekend as they continue their run in the tournament. And back here in San Antonio, lots of good action on the diamond. Lazera trying to beat it out, but he'll be thrown out by the third baseman who charged in and made the nice throw there. Kerr, who came in during the middle of this game, gets Lazera, but the runners do move over to second and third. Brian Shaw will get a couple of opportunities to drive home a run. Mets looking right at us there at the camera, almost smiling. And we'll get a visit here on the mound as it looks like the afternoon might be over for J.J. Paul. Coach Nyman coming to the mound, and we'll see if it's just a visit or a change. And the ball, in fact, being handed over. There we go. And Paul coming out of the game, being replaced by Will Manley, who will come in to try to get out of this jam. We'll take a quick break during this pitching change and be right back on Tiger Network. In from the bullpen comes senior Will Manley. Manley, the senior from Middleton, Pennsylvania, majoring in criminal justice. And he'll have to solve this riddle right here, coming in with runners on second and third, and facing the powerful Brian Schaub. Schaub having to wait through the pitching change and lays off the first pitch from Manley high for a ball. Manley so far this season has thrown 4 1/3 innings, recorded an ERA of 6.23. Really the story of the season so far for the Bulldogs as this 1-0 comes to Schaub, skies it deep to center, but getting under it, as you could tell from the shrug there from Schaub. It'll be caught in the outfield, and Gore not moving anywhere. So Manley coming out of the bullpen and retiring Schaub.
Next up, the left fielder, number 10, Jack Wonderhall.
It'll be up to Jack Vonderhaar. Still a couple of runners out there in scoring position, but now 2 outs. First pitch to Vonderhaar, a little low, 4-1. And highlighting the ERA of Manley at 6.23, really matching the struggles that DeSales had last year on the mound. Even though they had a prolific offense, they also had a pitching staff that had an ERA of up over 5.3. And this road trip, after starting off on the right foot with a sweep of Schreiner in Kerrville, has seen the Bulldogs give up double-digit runs in consecutive ball games. First, the Pirates up in Georgetown, scoring 12 on DeSales, and then the Bulldogs pouncing for 18, the Bulldogs of Texas Lutheran, once again, as both teams called the Bulldogs. And now here, 9 runs for the Tigers, with a couple of more out there for Vonderhaar. He swings over that ball in the dirt, takes a count to 1-2. Vonderhaar 1 for 3 on the evening, has struck out once, but added a double that drove in a run during that explosive third inning for the Tigers, in which they scored 8 of those 9 runs. They've been fairly quiet since then, but an opportunity to make some more noise here. The catcher wanting it up, and Manley gets it there, but Vonderhaar lays off. The catcher behind the plate now, Zavorsky. Spalt got the start behind the plate, but Zavorsky came in to hit with the bases loaded and now stays behind the plate. So the count even at 2. Manley not even bothering to look at the runner, just focusing on Vonderhaar. And Vonderhaar just kind of flicks it into center field, and it'll do the job. Gore and Metz will come around to score. And Vonderhaar with 2 more runs batted in. And the embrace over there at first with first base coach Garrett Shapiro as the Tigers cross over double digits. Manley trying to get the breaking ball in there, and just nice little compact swing from Vonderhaar, placing it right where he needed to. And for the 4th time this year, the Tigers get over that 10-run mark. They did it 14 times last season. And Haney feeling good about his swings today, goes after the first pitch. This time it will be caught by Tremblay out there in center field, but the Tigers add a couple more insurance runs here in the bottom of the 6th off the single from Jack Vonderhaar as we head to the top of the 7th. Tigers 11, Bulldogs 2.
seventh inning for DeSales. Leading off the second baseman, number 15.
New pitcher on the mound for the Tigers, and it is senior Joel Thomas on the mound now. First man out of the bullpen for the Tigers, replacing Jack Martinez, who completes his first career start. Ends up throwing 6 innings, giving up just the 3 hits and the 2 runs, had 4 walks and 4 strikeouts. But a quality start for the first year. That leaves the Tigers ahead here 11-2 as he hands the baton over to Thomas here. First batter Thomas will face DeSales. And he grounds it up the middle for a base hit right over the second base bag. So a leadoff runner on here for the Bulldogs. And then we'll turn the lineup over to Colin Tremblay. Tremblay had the biggest hit of the evening for the Bulldogs at inside the park home run. It was a line drive right at center fielder Ezra Gore that he tried to dive and catch in front of him, but it got away from him and rolled all the way to the wall, and by the time backup got there, Tremblay was well on his way to home. At the time, it gave the Bulldogs the lead 2-1, but you can see what's happened since. 10 unanswered runs for Trinity. Big breaking ball from Thomas, just misses inside for a ball. Thomas came in to pitch in Game 1 of that 4-game series against Whitewater, and he actually recorded the win. He came in for 3 innings out of the bullpen. And in those 3 innings, he gave up 5 runs, but only 1 of those were earned as he gets Tremblay to sky out to right field for out number 1. Just 1 earned run in those 3 innings, but 5 total. But that was just the prelude to the heroics in the bottom of the 9th. That was the night that Vonderhaar tied it with the home run, and then Pettit walked it off with the home run himself. And Thomas, the beneficiary of that victory. So he stands at 1-0 with a save as well in the early 2022 campaign. To Kyle, taken the other way, and it'll sneak into left field for a base hit. Nice piece of hitting for Kyle. Now a couple of runners on for the Bulldogs with just 1 away. Another pinch hitter now. Not in the starting lineup originally, Zach Boren. Looks at his first pitch outside for a ball. Boren, the sophomore from Moorestown, New Jersey. One of 3 catchers to now see action today. Thomas keeping an eye on the runner at second, now fires it in. And the changeup drops in there for a strike. 1-2, the count now to Boren. Thomas, someone who saw some action in that opening weekend when the Tigers traveled to Birmingham. Here. Off-speed pitch drops in there beautifully for strike 3. Boren not really sure what hit him before heading back to the dugout. So Thomas an out away from escaping this little jam. But he'll have to get through Billy Scanlon here. been fortunate to spend a lot of time at practice this year, and something Thomas really proud of is how he's remained calm and steady in these games. He is known for coming into these difficult situations, and for anybody, it can be stressful, but he's done a great job this year at just realizing he has to do what he has to do to get the hitters out. His stuff will do the work for him. Right there, the fastball hit hard, but the other way foul. As Dave Smith told me, as a reliever, you don't get much time to show what you have. One bad inning can make you look pretty awful if you just look at the box score, but there's so much to these moments that you may not know if you're not tuning in. And Thomas has done a good job, as reflected by that 1-0 record with the save. And he gets ahead of Scanlon 0-2. The cleanup hitter trying to get anything on the board for these Bulldogs. Still 3 innings to work with. But time certainly running out quickly on this spring break trip for DeSales. See Thomas reaching down, looking in for the sign. Now readies his 0-2. Big breaking ball loops. Hit by Scanlon hard down the line. MJ Metz knocks it down. But he'll have no shot at retiring the runner over at first. You see this ball right down the line, and it did stay fair, but Metz doing a nice job keeping it nearby, not allowing a run to score. But the bases will now be loaded. And it'll be Custers, who for the second straight inning will have a bases loaded opportunity for DeSales. Custers just 0 for 1. Came into this game in the middle innings. Now trying to come through. Last inning it was Zavorsky coming off the bench. The game still 9-2, trying to make a dent in the deficit. But Martinez retiring his final hitter of the evening with the strikeout. And so now Custer is trying to make something happen. He'll look at a strike up in the zone. The 1-1 from Thomas. You can see the amount of movement on that pitch. Custer's kind of giving up on that one. Looked like it'd be well outside the zone. And then it just creeps back in there. The outside corner for a strike. Thomas up 1-2. Just one strike away from getting out of it. Goes with the fastball. Misses high and away, evening up the count at 2-2. Another big moment here for the Bulldogs. Custers chops this one to Metz. He charges in, makes the throw to Hastings, and retires. Custers running down the line. Great play by MJ Metz to get out of the inning. Get a good look at the replay here. A tough play for any third baseman. Metz goes with the glove, makes the transfer to his bare hand, and gets the throw over there in time. It is time to stretch here in San Antonio. Take a few seconds to stand up, sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and we'll be right back with you for the bottom half of the 7th.
Consequence number 24.
Will Manley remains on the mound for the Bulldogs after allowing a couple of runs in the previous inning. He came in for Paul, and his first pitch is taken to right field. And Hastings gonna hustle on over to second. He's gonna round second and stop there and slide back in there. Tigers dugout going wild. And likely because that is Corson's first hit of the 2022 season. Going right after the first delivery from Manley and getting it down that right field line into the corner. Pretty excited, wanted to go to third, but had to reverse course and get back into second, where he's now standing with a lead-off double, and the lineup turns back over for Colt Harris. Harris way back in the first inning led things off with a double. He then added another hit and looks to add one here, and he does. It gets past the shortstop into center field. Hastings gets on over to third, and Colt Harris, Orioles fan, has himself a 3-hit ball game.
That's what he said for Colt Harris. Now batting the designated hitter number 9, Christian. Oh.
Another player looking to get into the 3-hit column, Christian Holloway. Already 2 for 4, hitting the ball hard throughout the evening, has a couple of runners on base at the corners. And he goes after the first pitch. This one, just a lazy pop-up in the infield. Going back to make the catch there is the second baseman, DeSales. Runners stay right where they're at. So an out badly needed there for Manley. But Gore and Met still loom in the heart of the order. Mentioned earlier, we wanted some guesses at why DeSales' mascot is the Bulldogs. We haven't gotten any. You still have some time. We'll give it until the 8th inning, and we'll reveal why the Bulldogs hail from DeSales. That is, if we get there, there is always the chance that the teams decide to call it if the team gets over 10 runs with their lead, and Gore trying to do just that, and he lines it into left center. A dive from Tremblay will be unsuccessful, and run number 12 comes across to score. These Tigers not wasting any time and not taking their big lead for granted. They are swinging and swinging early, and you saw that huge dive out there in center. Just coming up empty was Tremblay. He does keep Harris there at second and limited Gore to just the single. But opportunities remain for the cleanup hitter, MJ Metz. He looks at the first pitch in there for a strike. Breaking ball high for a ball. There's been a lot of good news for Tiger fans throughout this broadcast, but perhaps the best coming right now is Luke Terry tells us that he is feeling good, feeling fine at home after that scary incident at BP. So we are so happy to hear that and can't wait to have him back on the broadcast as soon as possible. Definitely miss his analysis here on Tiger Network. You see fans bundled up behind home plate here. Mentioned the temperature is quickly falling. You never quite know here in San Antonio. As Metz lays off a ball there, bringing the count to 2-2. Still at 58 degrees, but for us South Texans, that's pretty cold. I know viewers from Pennsylvania probably laughing at that, but it's pretty chilly for San Antonio. Mets looking at that one in the dirt. It is expected to fall to 40 degrees by around midnight. I think that certainly qualifies as cold. I think all of us believed we were past this. It is, of course, spring break here at Trinity, and we want spring-like weather. So hopefully this is just the last little bit of cold before the sun shines for good here. Metz chops it to third. He'll hustle it over to first, called out. Close play at the bag. You saw Shapiro saying safe, but the umpire is saying out. And the umpire wins out on that one. Runners moving over to second and third. Mets having the advantage of leading out of the box with that swing, falling forward a little bit, had that step. But the third baseman there doing a nice job. And it'll bring up Nick Lazera, who for the first time will hit from the left side. If you remember, he was in the right side of the box earlier today. He is the only switch hitter on this Trinity team. And he did pretty well from the right side, went 2 for 3, drove in a run, scored a couple of runs, and also had a walk. So now he flips things over, has a chance to drive in 2 more. He lays off that one high. Always fascinating to me to learn why switch hitters become switch hitters. And Nick telling me he's actually naturally right-handed, but if he were to give up one, which he doesn't plan on doing anytime soon, he'd probably give up that natural right side, as he loves that he learned to hit from this left side. And he muscles that one too short, but right there is Custer's to retire the out, so a good swing put on the baseball by Lazera. But just the 1 run comes across the score for the Tigers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Tiger Network. You might just find out why the Bulldogs hail from DeSales. You never know. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Tiger Network. Tigers extending their lead in the bottom half of the 7th, now up 12-2. And Joel Thomas remains on the mound for his 2nd inning of work here. He'll face the pinch hitter, Jonathan Pozniak. So Coach Nyman going deep into his roster, giving everybody an opportunity here. The Bulldogs won't be back in action until March 19th. It's that breaking ball in there for a strike from Thomas. Bulldogs will be going back north, but still not playing a home game. They'll face Stevens in Hoboken, but they'll have a full week off before that. The Tigers were scheduled to have something similar to that, as they were going to have to wait until they face Southwestern here at home. But a midweek game against McMurray popped up on the schedule, and it'll be next Tuesday here in San Antonio and right here on Tiger Network. Thomas ahead here 1-2, and I know all of you still with us are just on the edge of your seats to find out why DeSales chose the Bulldog as their mascot. I'm a little disappointed there haven't been any guesses in the chat, not gonna lie. Babson fans were pretty active in the chat when we opened the season. They were very quick to guess why their school was called the Beavers. But I guess I'll just have to tell you why DeSales chose the Bulldog as their mascot, and it really was a choice. This 2-2 delivery from Thomas in the dirt. It was an entire rebrand by the university. DeSales used to be known as the Allentown College of St. Francis. And their mascot, the centaur, the mythical creature. Thomas with the off-speed pitch striking out Pozniak. You can tell Tigers excited to find out why a team would change from being called the Centaurs. Well, the entire university wanted to change names, and they became known DeSales University. And they felt it was also time to rebrand that mascot. There were some issues seen around that name, especially as the university used to only allow men to attend, but then it became a co-ed institution, and the centaur, a male creature, wasn't seen as an appropriate mascot for the school anymore. And so the board voted, and they chose the Bulldog as the mascot to represent DeSales. They made this change back in 2001. So we are now past 20 years with DeSales being known as the Bulldogs. Pretty recent. There were some pretty strong reactions at the time on both sides with that name change, as you can imagine. But the Bulldogs won out. And even recently, DeSales going with some new logos, new color scheme. That leaves them with their navy and red look that they have now. And that fierce little Bulldog logo. So you just never know. You might think Bulldog, pretty common name, but there's always a story behind a name. So there you have it, the DeSales Bulldogs. Tiger fans might be wondering, when are we going to find out why Trinity's called the Tigers? Well, you never know. You'll have to tune in and see if you picked the special game. We'll explain that. Maybe we'll have Leroy join us. Our incredible mascot here, Leroy the Tiger. Maybe he can explain it. But as a little hint, just know that the San Antonio Zoo is right across the street from Trinity. But you'll have to tune in more to find out. At some point in the season, I'm sure we'll get to it. Thankfully, we have plenty of home games here on Tiger Network. Thomas here locked in a nice battle with Kerr, who's taken the count full. And Kerr blows that fastball by Kerr. It gets past the catcher. Lazera tries to get it over to first, and he will. Just in time to get Kerr at first. Once again, those red bricks playing a part in the game. And that little hesitation, Kerr not realizing it got past the catcher enough to record the out. The red bricks must be just another effort for Trinity to be like Camden Yards. Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Similar playing right there behind home with those red bricks, causing all sorts of chaos. As runners think they have a chance, maybe scoring from third on a wild pitch, but then it bounces right back to the catcher or the pitcher. The catcher Zavorsky here at the plate with 2 outs and nobody on. He struck out with the bases loaded as a pinch hitter. And Zavorsky, one of 2 returning all-conference selections for these Bulldogs. Looks at a breaking ball for a strike. Zavorsky making the All-MAC Freedom second team. His teammate Billy Scanlon, an All-MAC Freedom honorable mention. But Zavorsky struggling tonight, striking out and nearly striking out. I thought he had him there, but the first base umpire saying he checked his swing. So Zavorsky will get another opportunity. But Thomas takes a little bit of a step, gathers himself, and now looks into Lazera ahead of this 1-2. Breaking ball lands perfectly on the inside corner. Zavorsky not happy, but the home plate umpire rings him up, and Thomas walks off the mound to greet his teammates in the dugout. Tigers coming to bat in the bottom of the 8th, comfortably ahead, 12-2. We'll be right back on Tiger Network. Welcome back to Tiger Network, where Trinity looking to put some finishing touches on this incredible offensive performance that they have had. 18 hits resulting in those 12 runs you see on the scoreboard. Those 18 hits, a season high in game number 11 of the 2022 campaign. Also the most base hits for the Tigers since back in February 28th of 2021. When they defeated Southwestern 19-3. That February 28th game with Southwestern had also been the last time the Tigers scored 8 runs in 1 inning, which the Tigers did earlier this year against Babson, but now the Tigers have done it twice this year. They scored 8 runs back in the bottom of the 3rd, and they have not looked back since. 4-pitch walk here to Schaub, and none of them particularly close, so he'll head over to first with the leadoff base on balls, and Manley will likely see a pinch hitter here. And you can hear the cheers coming from the bench. Austin Davison coming to the plate for the first time this year. And you can see the smile on Austin's face, taking a deep breath here. Austin, a catcher on this roster who works incredibly hard every practice, and did he get hit with that one? nearly. That would have been quite an unfortunate way to start this season. You can see he laughs it off a little bit, but everyone you talk to knows Austin is one of the hardest workers on this team. Not an easy task to be a catcher. And so he gets a moment here, and he lines a base hit into left field. Austin Davison, 1 at-bat, 1 hit.
That's a base hit for Austin Davidson.
Great look at it right here, going down to get it. And it lands on a line in front of the left fielder for a base hit. So now Schaub and Davison reaching base here in the bottom of the 8th, and it'll bring up the shortstop, Tanner Haney. First pitch to Haney gets away from the catcher Zavorsky, but you can see Schaub not going anywhere with this 10-run lead. Haney 2 for 4 on the evening, 2 runs batted in. The shortstop transferring to Trinity from the University of Texas at Austin. Turning from a Longhorn to a Tiger and getting his master's in accounting here. And I have to say, if you ever need any accounting done or any finance work, you really should check with this Trinity baseball team. Because if you look up and down this roster, you have several guys not only getting the master's in accounting, but you have others just studying finance, accounting, and it has to be by far the overwhelming major on this team. And so Haney coming over from UT, enrolling in that master's program here at Trinity, and using the extra eligibility granted by the NCAA to spend some time as a Tiger on the field as well. UT Austin, of course, if you follow college baseball, began the season ranked #1 in Division I. The Longhorns just north on I-35. Having a great start to their year with their elite pitching. Tiger fans might remember James Natoli, another former Longhorn who became a Tiger. Big left-handed pitcher. Played several years here at Trinity before graduating last year. And if I remember correctly, also got the master's in accounting. So I'm telling you, if you need numbers done, just talk to this team. Haney grounds it to third. Kerr steps on the bag to get the force out. Unable to get Haney over there at first, but the first out of the inning is retired. Looks like we'll have a visit to the mound here. Will Manley gives up the ball to Coach Nyman. And another pitcher coming in from the bullpen, Ian Malone. The first year will get the opportunity here. You see Gavin Zavorsky, the catcher, giving him a word of advice, and we'll come right back after a short break to see how he does here in the bottom of the 8th. Ian Malone ready to make his appearance in this one, facing Corson Hastings, and the first pitch from Malone high for a ball. Malone, a first year, getting some action. He went 3 1/3, didn't give up a run against Southwestern, struck out 5. Pretty impressive performance for a collegiate debut, especially against an offense like the one Southwestern has. And he comes in here in the bottom of the 8th, trying to get out of this little pickle with runners on first and second. Tigers already with 12 runs on the board. So Malone just trying to get his team to bat. But he falls behind 2-0 on Hastings, who got his first hit of the season in his last at-bat, a double down the right field line. So it's been a pretty good night for many people to go around. Hastings and Davison, a couple getting their first hits of the season. And you look up and down this Tigers lineup, and you see good numbers wherever you turn. Ezra Gore going 4 for 5, 3 runs batted in, definitely stands out. And now Hastings draws a 4-pitch walk, so Malone comes out of the bullpen and walks the first man he sees. You got to see on your screen when we went to break, the catcher Zavorsky putting his hands on Malone, telling him to calm down, just breathe a little bit and enjoy the moment. So maybe some nerves from the first year, just his second outing of his career. But the walk will turn the lineup over to Colt Harris, who has had himself a great evening as well, going 3 for 5. Harris really building off of that grand slam that he had on Saturday at Wolf Stadium, capitalizing on the back-to-back starts over there at second. And Harris fouls that one back. Tigers split that series with Whitewater, that 4-game series, each team winning 2 apiece, and both the wins for the Tigers coming off those walk-off home runs. But even those wins had some errors in the box score. The pitching wasn't quite where everybody wants it to be. So the general consensus seems to be that this Tigers team has definitely not reached its full potential, and for the best, because they know what is there, and they know that they've already beaten 3 top 10 teams with Whitewater, BSC, and WashU. And so for them not to be at their best and already defeat those teams shows the potential that these Tigers have. But they've certainly met it tonight, as Harris tries to drop it in there at center field, but Tremblay charges in, calls off the second baseman, and retires Colt. But as I've mentioned throughout the night, DeSales, a very quality baseball program, known for winning, known for going on the road early in the season and playing tough opponents. So this 10-run lead, nothing to slouch at, and something I'm sure all the coaches and players here at Trinity will be thrilled with, especially the performances they've gotten at the plate throughout their lineup and on the mound from Jack Martinez and Joel Thomas. As Coach Scannell has told me, his biggest goal for any team, and especially this year's team, is to have a team that's tough-minded. And to him, tough-minded means they welcome adversity, they welcome bad calls, they welcome bad luck, and they overcome it. They've dealt with lots of adversity here early in the season against really difficult opponents, and so far they've done a nice job dealing with it. They stand at 5-5, looking to get over 500 with this victory. And the entire season right ahead of them, all their goals right there. The number 1 goal, of course, always winning the SCAC, earning a spot in the NCAA tournament. The Tigers have done that in 2 consecutive years that they've been able to. Of course, that 2020 season, as discussed, getting cut short. But the Tigers losing last year in the 2021 regional to Johns Hopkins and Aurora. So an early exit for them. They lost to Johns Hopkins 11-2 and to Aurora 14-9. And I know across the board, they were disappointed at that early exit. So looking to get back into the NCAA tournament and make a little bit of noise, just like they did 6 years ago when they claimed that 2016 national championship. And if they hit like they have tonight, they might be on their way. But right there, Malone gets Holloway to strike out, looking, strands the bases loaded. And it is time for the 9th inning here in San Antonio. Looks like Joseph Chavana will take the mound to close things out, and we'll take a quick break to bring you the top of the 9th. On the mound to close things out here in the top of the 9th, big number 3, Joseph Chavana, who drops in a breaking ball to get ahead 0-1. Chavana, the sophomore from Laredo, Texas, has had an excellent start to this 2022 season. Back-to-back breaking balls, and this one sent to shortstop Haney with plenty of time to retire DeSales. And you see the numbers right there. Chavana with 3 quick victories to his credit, 3-0 record with that 4.5 ERA, striking out 16 in 14 innings. And really that ERA elevated a little this past weekend when he gave up 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. But before that, he had 2 stellar outings in Birmingham that earned him the SCAC Pitcher of the Week. Pitch here to Tremblay, up and in, but you can see the confidence of Chavana, gets the ball and right back on the rubber, not wasting any time. And this isn't Tremblay anymore at the top of the order. It's actually pinch hitter Jimmy Beakey. And he's ahead in the count 2-1 here on Chavana. But Chavana getting that Pitcher of the Week award, now joined by Brian Schaub getting the Hitter of the Week award in the conference. So the Tigers starting to cover those bases within the SCAC. But soon enough, we will see those rivals head-to-head. And it all starts on the 18th when the Pirates of Southwestern come into town. That'll be a 3-game series with Game 1 taking place on Friday night and then a Saturday doubleheader. And that'll be the final game of this 13-game homestand for the Tigers. They'll finally go back on the road on March 22nd for a midweek game against the Mary Hardin Baylor Crusaders up in Belton. Crusaders providing plenty of heartache for Tiger fans across sports, eliminating our men's basketball team, eliminating our football team in the playoffs. So this baseball team will look to get back at them and notch one in the win column for Trinity. But first things first, Chavana trying to close things out here, and he strikes out Beakey looking. And the Tigers just 1 out away from wrapping up this victory. Shavana, one of a couple of returning pitchers who were over the 30-inning mark last year. Went 31 and 2/3 innings, had an ERA up over 5. And here he gets McCunney, the pinch hitter, to ground out to second. And that's out number 27 for the Tigers as they defeat DeSales 12-2. An all-around great performance for the 17th ranked Trinity Tigers. And it all got started in that 3rd inning. 8 runs on 9 hits in that bottom of the 3rd. You can see it clearly sticking out there on your scoreboard. The Tigers end up with 12 runs on 19 hits, a season high in the hit column. And on the mound, the efforts of Jack Martinez, Joel Thomas, and now Joseph Chavana complete the victory for the Tigers. So many great performances to choose from, but a couple that certainly stand out at the top of the order. Colt Harris going 3 for 6, driving in a run, had that double to really get things going in the bottom of the 1st. Ezra Gore going 4 for 5, driving in 3 runs, scoring twice himself as he continues his torrent start to this season. And then throughout the lineup, production, and that is not a fabrication because you look at the box score and every single Tiger that came to the plate tonight had a base hit, and that includes Corson Hastings and Austin Davison, who got their first hits of the season. On the other side, a tough evening for the Bulldogs of DeSales. Colin Tremblay did have that inside the park home run, but that is just about the only bright spot that they could find as they wrap up their spring break trip here in San Antonio. It has been a pleasure to bring this one to you. Can't wait to have Luke Terry right back here with me for games. The remainder of the season here on Tiger Network. We'll have every home game right here for you. Don't forget to cheer on the women's basketball team this Friday as they take on Christopher Newport in the playoffs. But until then, I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday evening.